I saw wasn't human.
Oh my God!
It was very tall. What's more, it saw me. This thing.
Rawhead Rex.
This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. And welcome back to another episode of Rawhead Rex. And PCs, this is a sub-series of the podcast Under the Stairs where we take the movie Rawhead Rex, beloved by many people across the world. Now and available in I think 3 different 4K UHD renders, which to me is just like, why? But yeah, it's out there. This series is a fun one though. We're taking the movie, we're splitting it into 5-minute digestible, reviewable segments. I'm getting podcasters from around the globe to join me to talk about those 5 minutes for like 20 minutes because it's a podcast and that's what we do. The kicker, the fun part, the bit that makes it podcast Under the Stairs, is that the release order of them is all muddled up. It's randomised. So this might be the first episode you're listening to. This might be the last one. It may be somewhere in the middle. If this was the first one, it's going to be wholly confusing because on this episode we're covering minutes 70 through 75. At the 70-minute mark, the verger is cackling in the face of the Reverend, and at the 75-minute mark, the detective is running towards flames, saying, "For you! For you!" as a lot of other police officers are set ablaze. Joining me on this episode is my long-time podcast friend, Mr. Gary Hill. How you doing, Gary?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm back to talk more about more exposition and the Rawhead as a whole.
Yeah, at least we get some Rawhead in this. You know what I mean? At least we're getting a bit of Rawhead here. Granted, it's kind of goofy Rawhead, but we talked about this on the other episode, which is either already out or about to come out. Like, the MVP of this movie is Declan O'Brien, the Verger, and he is full on in this 5 minutes. He is absolutely fucking great. He's unhinged AF, and I'm very much looking forward to getting into it now. So it starts with him cackling in the face of the Reverend and saying, "He is God," pointing to Rawhead Rex, who isn't even in the same room. He's instead in the rectory, just like slashing at paintings of Jesus with his fingernails. Declan pushes over Reverend Coot on the ground, and the Reverend's kind of like stumbling around, and wouldn't you know it, he just happens to find the parish records on the floor. The last place you would go looking for them, Gary. It's always the last place. Well, in fairness, he sent Declan to go and find them, and Declan said they weren't there. I do like this idea of the Reverend not going to double check though, because it's for some crazy American guy who wants to write a book about sex cults, and he's not really interested in that. So it's kind of like, whatever. The Verger pushes him over. He finds apparently a parish record, which is a A3 drawing of Rawhead Rex, which looks a little bit too fresh to be like as old as they're making it out to be here.
That is some ancient parchment with some very fresh ink on it, is all I'm saying. Yeah.
It looks a little bit too clean. And the Verger's like, he was here before Christ, before civilization. And the Reverend's looking at this bit of paper. He was king here. And then we do a lot of cuts. There's a lot of cuts here. There's a cut to the police officers who are like pulling bodies away from the recent massacre, the recent Rawhead Rex massacre. And detective number 2, as I call him, is on the old walkie, and he's speaking to someone, and they're telling him that there's something going on at the church, and he's like, to the church. So they all head off to the church, and then the Verger's continuing on his monologue, and then you get he's like, Rawhead, that's what they called him. Rawhead! Like, he's just like, it's so over the top, and I kind of fucking love it. And he is like the perfect cat. Like, I don't know if this guy did anything ever apart from this. If he didn't, this was the role he was meant to play. You know what I mean? This guy is like 100 shades of crazy.
Now he knows that Rawhead's very much alive, but
Yeah.
he still talks about him in the past tense. That's a problem.
He does. There's a slight continuity error there, I think. Meanwhile, our man Hallenbeck is chatting to a cop. The cop's like, you stay here, and then gets ready to leave. And then we switch back again to Declan, who is now pushing the priest upstairs. And the Reveland's trying his hardest here to break the spell of Rawhead. Ah, silly priest. He's like, think, Declan, he doesn't care about you. When he's finished with you, what will he do with you? And oh, I love this. It's so over the top. Declan's like, kill me, I hope. I mean, okay. The Reveland's like, Declan, for the love of God. And then we get the line, our mutual friend Jamie J. Salmons loves this line, and it's, get up the stairs, fuckface, which is a great line to hear from a man of the cloth. He says, we can't keep God waiting. It's so over the top. It's just like it's not even that Declan has levels. I think he's reached peak level, and he's just sustaining it in a way which is kind of magical to watch on the screen. Do you think if you were his director, you just let this guy go cage rage, or do you try and give him direction?
Well, there was like, you could say he's got one mode. Even, when he's kind of hanging back, he just looks devious. That when he goes here, when he goes to this level, it's like you gotta let him go. You have to.
Yeah, he's I think what they call this in the business is Kubrick's The Shining. Where like Jack Torrance is just crazy from the moment you meet him. So by the end of the movie, you're like, yeah, of course he tried to murder his family. Did you not see him at the beginning? He was an intense man, very, very, very intense man.
Which is a problem with Kubrick Shining, because it takes him a while to get there in the book. Okay.
Yeah, it does take but it does take us, but also in the book, the fucking hedge monsters move around the place, which I mean,
well, yeah,
like, swings and roundabouts, Gary, swings and roundabouts. So Duke hears the sirens, and then that startles him. He's in a police station. I don't know why it would startle him. And then we cut back to the main room of the church, and Declan is pushing the Reverend into the centre of the room, and this room looks like a frat party's happened at it. Everything is all over the place, and Bibles are on fire. And the Reverend says, you did this? And Berger's like, I'm going to destroy it all. He wants me to take it apart. Piece by piece. Just like I'm doing with this series, Rawhead Rex in Pieces, where I take the movie and split up into pieces and then rearrange it to dissect the movie. Coutts counter this as weak AF. He's like, that you wouldn't dare. He clearly has already. You know what I mean? The room is a fucking state and Bibles are on fire. I'm going to say it's a bit late to be questioning his follow through on this. What do you think?
This is his second, and I love this. My favorite Rawhead stuff is these two scenes.
Yeah.
This scene here, where I'm going to call it his fuck yo couch moment, because he has a fuck yo couch moment in the rectory, just tearing up stuff for no reason, and then the old lady's kitchen in the earlier scene, where he's just like tearing up the flour for no reason.
Yeah,
fucking flour, get out of my way. But yeah, he has everything. He's like made this place his own, and in a really wonderful way to introduce this man.
Yeah.
You know, to our pastor, priest, or reverend there, Reverend
Coot, as an old coot, which is a joke.
Indeed.
A joke that made me smile, but not Declan at all. So yeah, so the Verger basically is. He's saying he's not scared, and the Reverend's like, well, why doesn't he come in and do it personally? And then we get like a horrible over the top fake laugh, and the Reverend says, I think your God is afraid, Declan. And Declan's like, no. And he says, yes, afraid to set foot in Christ's house. And once again, we get a great, like, over-the-top note. The thing is, I know for a fact that when Clive Barker was writing this, Clive Barker was like, this shit pops off the page. And then I understand that when he saw this movie, he was like, never again shall someone sully my writing. What is this shit? You can't get jiggy at this shit. Verger's like, no, your pathetic little shepherd has no hold over him or me. I know my real master when I see him, and so will you. And he turns around, and Rawhead Rex comes in, like the opening of a Gwar concert. There's a smoke machine in the background. There's, 4,500 people cheering him on as he walks into the room. His hands are up in there. He's like, ah! And he starts slashing at thin air. And it's at this point the police arrive outside. They're doing a very Nightbreed thing where all the police are arriving and just instantly getting the guns out. And the main kind of detective number 2 is like, hold, we're not going to, everyone stand by, get those people back. And then I don't know if the Reverend here understands that Rawhead Rex is a pagan deity and not a demon, because he keeps trying to treat him like he's in the Bible or something. Like there was like a chapter in the Bible that says, and lo, unto them Rawhead Rex came and pissed on them. It's the weirdest thing. He grabs a cross from the wall and kind of puts it in front of him, and he's like, this is holy ground, God's ground. And then everyone's laughing at him, and Rawhead crushes it and then lunges, attacks the Reverend, bites him.
Rawhead's like, bitch, my face is on the stained glass window. This is my house,
Yeah, you built this on my ground. This is my land, right?
I mean, they just had this conversation.
Yeah.
That Rawhead is older than your god. So obviously he don't give a fuck about your god.
Yeah, so why he thought the cross was going to do anything, isn't it? He's not a vampire. It's like, everything's just wrong. Like, Reverend Coot, he is old. He's an old coot. He doesn't understand. And, so the cops are outside, and all they're hearing is roar, kind of roars and screams, and they start cocking those guns, and they're getting ready to fire just as Rawhead walks out with the Reverend in his arms. And I love this. There's some woman villager in the background says, "Kill the murdering bastard," which is about on point, to be honest. And Rawhead lifts the priest above his head. And one of the cops is like, "Can I fire?" And detective number 2 says, "No, you might hit the Reverend. Well, you might hit the old man." And he's like, "He's dead already. Look at him." And he's like, "No, he's still moving." Meanwhile, the main detective has just shown up, and he's doing the shifty eye. And then he runs over to his vehicle and produces 2 jerry cans full of petrol, and just starts pouring them out on the ground.
Got no plan at all. It just happened.
Yeah, he's just like, you know what I should introduce to this already combustible situation? Fire. So he starts pouring this out. Rawhead throws the Reverend into the graveyard, and the the cop called Conway in this movie looks over and sees all this petrol running under, and he starts throwing himself at the detective, who sets it on fire. And for a few seconds, this place was Armageddon. Like, everything goes off. Like, cars explode, villagers are knocked over, cops are running around on fire. And the detective walks up in front of Rawhead and is like, "For you! For you!" And then he actually walks through the fire. And then we get like a lot of coppers running about the place, flailing their arms on fire, and that is the end of our 5 minutes. Gary, a whole lot of Declan just being OTT, and I kind of love it for it. But we also get some Rawhead Rex action in this as well. So I need to ask you, my friend, do you have a favourite line, your favourite segment from these 5 minutes?
Oh, the one that Jamie loves is the best line.
Get the stairs, fuck face.
Yeah, because it's so out of context for the rest of the dialogue. There's like no place where you're there for it. Because he's just so over the top. You mentioned the fire. He pours his gasoline and it flows the complete wrong way he wants it to flow, of course. And with that, you get some great explosions and some great, walking Burning Man effect. They're not effects. They're dudes walking around that are on fire. You can see the gel they used to use back in those days burning off of them. It's like I can always appreciate that, like a good fire walk.
Yeah, and, definitely, man.
Yeah. Rawhead, with all the great stuff with Declan. The part where Rawhead just chucks the Padre across that parking lot, said, "I am," basically saying, "I am your god now." You see what I did to him. Basically saying that this is by making that statement by tossing him across into the graveyard. See, now he's all the way dead. But wait, there's more exposition before he dies.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I'm with you. I'm with Jamie on this one. Get up the stairs, fuckface is like one of those things that is a quotable line from this movie, even if when they made it, they intended it to be that way. I think it always makes me smile, always makes me laugh. And yeah, like Rawhead as well. This is like flexing up now. This is bowing up for this, which I kind of love as well, because he's been killing a lot of people. But this is the first part where you're like, oh, look at him. Like, it's all kind of, the music's over the top. Like, the smoke machine's going wild. Still, no one has fixed that wonky eye. It's kind of amazing. Yeah, this is great, and we're hurtling towards the last 10 minutes of this movie where shit will kick off even further. Gary, you're a busy guy. You've got podcasts out there. Where can people check out your stuff?
LegionPodcast.com. Cinebeef Podcast, Two Drink Minimum Commentaries. You'll find all my stuff on there, mostly on the Cinebeef feed. But if you go to your podcatcher, look for the Butcher Shop feed, and you'll get all my stuff on there for sure. All the good stuff, and it's all the good stuff. I say we have fun. Let's put it that way. Whatever,
Dude, that's all that matters. As long as you're having fun, it doesn't feel like work. And that's like, ain't nobody getting paid for this shit. You know what I mean? Well, this is free time. This is free time and energy being expelled for mostly our entertainment, and hopefully one or two people get a chuckle out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode in the bag. Now, like I said before, we are doing episodes every single day in October, so this is part of the multitude of things that are coming out in October. But because this series is all out of sync, I genuinely don't know when this is dropping, and I also don't know if another Rawhead Rex episode is coming the day after or was even the day before. All I can tell you is keep checking out these. We've got ideas for the next one already, which will be happening in December. And I can announce, if I haven't already on one of the other episodes, that it will be on the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, Silent Night from 2012. So until I speak to you again, which will be tomorrow, take care.